All right, so we are going to begin our review for the STAAR test. And uh, probably the most important thing I could tell you is as we're doing this, um, if you're truly trying to prepare for the STAAR test and you're trying to pass it this year, which is always your best year at trying to pass it, um, then I recommend that as I'm doing these questions, you maybe pause the video and see if you can work it out, and then go back and see if you did it right. Play the video and see if you did it right. Um, you don't want to just sit and watch because when it comes time for you to actually do it, it's really hard to do it if you haven't practiced it. Okay. It'd be like going to football practice, and instead of going out in the football field and practicing, you just sit there and watch a video on how to do it. You actually have to practice doing it. So that's the most important thing. And we've only got 12 days until our STAAR test. So you need to make sure that you're getting that practice in. Now, I'm going to have two different videos and two different worksheets. And I'm going to let you choose what you think is best for you. One is going to have strictly the easy questions. So we want to make sure, remember, if you can get the easy questions, if you struggle with the tougher questions, you can guess C. And if you follow that strategy of getting the easy questions and then guessing C on the tough questions, you can pass the STAAR test. Now, it'll probably be, more of a lower score, but you can pass the STAAR test. So if you know that that's what you need to be doing, then I want you to do the easy questions. If you are like, man, I know these easy questions, I'm good with the calculator, then the more advanced questions will still have easy questions. There's still a lot of easy questions on the one with more advanced questions. It's just simply going to have, like it says, more advanced questions. And so, if you think that you would like to do that, then you can do that one. You do not have to do both. Okay. I do not want you doing, both of them. I just simply want you doing one or the other. Okay. With whatever you think is best going to help you. All right. And like I said, if you struggle, then I would definitely do the easy one. Okay. All right. So when we take a look at what we have right here, we are looking for something that tells me that this is easy. Okay. So on your test, we're going to be looking for, easy questions. If it's not easy, then obviously we're going to guess C and move on. But how do I tell when something's easy? And I will say that this is not necessarily perfect, that there are times that you will see what it is we're going to talk about, but it still isn't easy. And so we're looking for, probably the biggest thing is equal signs. Y equals is awesome. But if we have an equal sign that like this right here, then this could just be a regular equation. And that's what we have today. And so we want to remember that just regular equations are also easy. And so I'm going to, all right, I'm going to type this into the calculator and it should give me my answer. So anytime that there's just a basic equation, one basic equation, we have an equal sign and we have just one letter. Now it says W, it could say X, say M, anything, as long as there's, when I say one letter, not one W, but one type of letter. So there's multiple W's, but there's not W's and X's in this. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to regular calculator here. Okay. And then we're going to go to menu 3-1. This gives us InSolve, menu 3-1. And then we're going to type in our equation. So we're going to type in 2 parentheses 26 plus. Now right here, it doesn't matter if you use W or, if you like to switch everything to X, that's fine too. What will matter is what you put at the end. So close our, oh, I forgot to close the parentheses here. Okay, equals, and then 2 parentheses 36 plus W. All right, so if you switch these W's to X's, when you get done, you're going to put comma X. Okay, if you don't put this comma X, it will not work. I use W, so I'm going to put comma W. So the comma says we're done now. This is the equation I want you to solve. And then the W says I'm looking for what W is. And I know that kind of seems dumb, but you have to tell the calculator what letter you're looking for. So if it's X, you're going to put a comma X here. If it's, A, you're going to put comma A. All right, all we got to do then is hit enter, and it gives us our answer. And so the answer here would be 5. Remember that the number always starts in the second box, okay? If it's a decimal, the decimal point itself also has to get a box of its own. And then this first box is saved only for positive or negative symbols. Positive symbols you don't have to put. You can if you want. Negative symbols you would have to put in. All right, so that was a very easy question. I want you to notice something. I didn't read the question. I'm glancing for keywords or equal signs. That's what I'm looking for. And then based off what I see, if I saw a keyword, I might have told me to do something. If I see an equal sign, then I'm probably looking to see if I can plug it into the calculator. All right, number 2. So I do see equal signs here and y equals. So you're kind of thinking maybe you could plug this in the calculator, but anytime they give you slope, the first thing you need to do is to go find the slope. All right. And so this is something that we expect you guys to know, that anytime y is by itself, that slope is always in front of x. Okay. And so if you don't know this, then we need to know slope is always in front of x when, y is by itself. So we've got the slope is 3. Well, you can see B and C have a -3. -3 and 3 are two different things. So those are not my answer. Now, if you're not sure what to do, then you could plug this in the calculator, but we're hoping that you know y equals mx plus b, that, of course, we said slope, which is m, is in front of x. The y-intercept is the number that's not with x. We're hoping you know that, but if you don't, then you could always plug these into the calculator, hit menu 5-1, and go find the y-intercept of -3. Which one has it? So here, the one that has the y-intercept of -3 would be A. All right, so if you know that, that goes a lot quicker than what I'm explaining. So that's kind of the downside, is if I'm having to explain it, it takes a little bit of time. Okay, so right here, I don't see an equal sign, but this really looks like an equation. The only difference is it's got this symbol right here, that inequality. So we have a little trick. If it looks like an equation, but it has the symbol right here, we just simply replace this with an equal sign. And then we type it in. Now, is it going to give me the exact answer? No. But it can give me information. What it can do is give me the number. And notice all these numbers are different here. So it won't take care of that symbol there. Now, if both of them had, the same exact number, then we would have to get the symbol. But a lot of times they give you different numbers. Just throw this into menu 3-1 again. So once again, this now becomes just a regular equation. So we hit menu 3-1, that's in solve. And then we're just going to type this in. So we have 7 plus 8x. Instead of putting the inequality symbol, we put the equal sign. So this will not work if you put that inequality symbol. Minus 3 parentheses x plus 5. All right, so now I'm done with this. So we got to tell the calculator we're done by putting comma, and then we're using x, so comma x. Hit enter, and it says -2. Look at my answers here, and the answer was B, -2. All right, so we take a look at 4. Now, this is the most common, I don't want to say, I shouldn't say the most common, but this is like the biggest concept on the STAAR, and that is when we can type anything with the y equals into graphs. Now, if we're typing it in and there's a picture of a graph, we're going to match the picture. If they type it in and there's numbers, we're going to hit menu 5-1 to help try to figure out these numbers, okay? And so the big thing is that we can type this under graphs, and then hopefully we can figure out what to do next. And so notice that a lot of times I'm looking in my answers for the equal signs. There will be times that the the equal sign or the y equals is in the problem, but a lot of times they put them in the answers. So we're going to go type these in. Then they give us numbers. So we're going to hit menu 5.1 and we're going to type in these x's and see if we get the y's. And whichever one gives me these y's, that's my answer. Have to at least check 2 at least. If you want to check them all, that's awesome. All right, so now we're going to graphs because it's a y equals. Now we don't ever type in y equals because this is your y equals right here. So we're typing in what comes after the equal sign. So we got minus 2x minus 11. Hit enter. And we're going to hit menu 5.1. And then we're typing in -3 because that is the very first x. So we type in the x. And I get -3, -5. That's what we were looking for. I'm going to type in -5, and it gives me -5, -1. If you've checked at least 2 of those, so it gave me -3, -5, and -5, -1. If you've checked at least 2 of those, this is our answer right here. If you really want to be just 100% sure, then you top all these x's in and check all the y's. All right. So as we are repeating some of this, I won't have to talk as much. We can just work the question out. So yes, we have y equals here. Our first thought is go plug it in and check this point. But anytime they give you slope, slope is always the number that's in front of x when y is by itself and y is by itself. So I should see -2/3 in front of x. Well, this has 2/3, not -2/3. Same here. So we can get rid of those. Make sure that you go through and eliminate those. Now we can type these in and we just have 1 point to check here because we've already confirmed that slope. So we're going to go open up a new problem. Always gets a brand new. Don't use Scratchpad. Make sure that you open up a brand new graph every time. All right, so we're going to go, remember, don't type in the y equals. So we're going to type in -2/3x. And then plus 20 control. So control divide is giving me my fraction over 3. All right, so I typed in C because we had eliminated A and B. Hit enter. We're going to hit menu 5.1. And then we're going to type 4 in because it was the 0.44. And look at what we got, the 0.44. If that matches right there, so if that matches this right here, then that's my answer. And once you get the answer, you do not need to keep checking things, okay? So there can only be one answer that has that slope and that point. We just found it. All right, number 6. Now, number 6 is a lot easier if you are in my room and looking at the posters. So we have posters with special equations that talk about Hoy and Vux. And so anytime that we see a slope that is undefined, okay, it goes with Vux. And I know it goes with Vux because the U in undefined is the U in Vux. So this means undefined right here, okay? And so Vux tells me everything I need to know about this equation. The V stands for it's a vertical line. We don't need that right here. The U was, like I said, undefined slope. But this X here, this is what's going to give us our answer. And that is everything about this problem can only contain X's. You're not allowed to have any Y's. And so when we look at this, we see A has a Y, C has a Y, and D has a Y. Okay. And then we also want to follow up with, yes, this is my answer. It's X equals 9, but also that 9 is the X coordinate. Okay. So there are no Y's allowed. You could not have an X equals 1 here. Okay. It has to be X equals 9. All right. So the answer there would be B. So you can see that one was easy just because it's a little bit quicker. Now you need to learn what Hoy and Vux mean. If you don't know Hoy and Vux, then obviously that will not be easy. Okay. And then all the ones we've seen so far that were easy, other than that one, were pretty much done in the Inspire. All right, here's another one. If you saw the poster, okay, then you would know that this line right here only crosses one axis. Okay, it's a special line. It's not diagonal. It's a flat line. And so this is a horizontal line. So this would be Hoy. Okay, and so knowing that this is a horizontal line, then the y in Hoy says we can only have y's. Notice it only crosses the y-axis at the y-coordinate. And so it can only have y's. Well, these have y, obviously D doesn't, but this also has an x, and Hoy says it can only have a y. So it's not that it has to have a y, it can only have a y. So it can't have these two because they got x's, so the answer has to be C, and it crosses at the y coordinate, okay, the y-intercept. All right, so those are Hoy and Vux, and like I said, if you learn those are easy questions. If you don't learn Hoy and Vux, then yeah, it's probably going to be, you're not going to consider those easy. All right, number 8. Anytime we have two letters back to back, that makes a y. So these are all y equals right here. So you need to get to where you recognize two letters back to back makes a y. So this is easy right here. This is y equals. I have points up here, so we're going to type this in, and we're going to check these points. So we've already kind of done this, so hopefully we'll get through this kind of quick. We're going to go to graphs, open up a brand new one. We're typing in 4x minus 1, hit enter, menu 5, 1. And then I'm going to type in -5, hit enter. You can see it says -5, -21. It should say -5, 1. Okay, so that's not it. So I'm going to hit tab and go up. And then we're going to type in, now I'm going to go up because I'm going to get rid of this line. If you don't want to hit tab and go up, start a brand new graph. But it's so much easier to switch this to a 4 and then just to get rid of that. And that's now B. Okay. And so we hit enter, menu 5, 1. We're going to type in -5. It actually remembered the -5. And so we didn't have to type anything in, but it says -5, -9. Well, I need -5, -1. So that's not it. So I'm going to hit tab and go up. Then C, they switched this to a +4. So I'm going to delete that and go to a +4, hit enter. Now, the reason we don't want to just keep entering in new equations is if you get a whole bunch of lines, then menu 5, 1 doesn't work. And so, if you're not going to hit tab and go up, then start a brand new graph every time. Go home and start a brand new graph. All right, so we're going to hit menu 5, 1, and notice nothing happened. We're still going to hit -5, and boom, it will show up. So you're still going to hit -5 and hit enter. All right, this did say -5, -1, so that's good. Remember, you have to check at least 2. So -1 is my next x, and it said -1 and +3. So yes, those definitely match. So the answer is going to be C. And like I said, if you want to, type 0 in and 1 in and just really confirm it, that's awesome. And, you can do that as well. All right. So number 9. Okay, so this is something we want to get good at because you tend to see these on the STAAR test. Y is not by itself here, but it is so simple to make y by itself that that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this +3 and we're going to move it to the end, but when it crosses the equal sign, it switches signs. So it becomes a -3, and we can get rid of that. Now we have y equals. And now we can type it in, and all we're trying to do is see if it matches this picture right here. So really quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all these. So this becomes a +3. This becomes a +3. And this becomes a -3. And then we can get rid of all these. So now we can type all these into the calculator. Now, if you know about slope, then you might be able to use slope here to kind of help you. If you don't know about slope, then you just start typing these in and tell me which one looks like that. So I'm going to draw slope dude because I like to draw a slope dude. You always draw them on the left-hand side. And he is walking uphill, and uphill is positive. So remember, we said if y is by itself, the number in front of x, even if there's a parentheses, this is our slope. And so my slope has to be positive, meaning it can't be B and it can't be D. Now, like I said, here's what's awesome about this. If you don't know that slope is positive here, and you don't know that slope is in front of x, which we definitely need to know that, then you just type all these in and just tell me which one matches this picture, okay? There's really 3 things you're looking at here. where's it at to the center? So you can see this line goes below the center. You want to see where it touches the y-axis and where it touches the x-axis. And if it matches that, you know that this is our line. So we're going to go to graphs and start a brand new one. And we are taking a look. Sorry, I got to turn my paper. All right, so we're going to type in control divide. Remember, that's your fraction bar, 3/2, parentheses. So get out of your fraction bar, parentheses, x plus 6. And then remember at the end, so if you didn't write this down on your paper, of course, if you're watching the video, you probably didn't, but don't forget that -3 at the end, because if you don't put it, that changes everything. So -3, we hit enter. First thing I notice is this line is above the center. Remember, ours was below the center. So no, I don't think this is our line. I had already marked off the other two. And so I'm going to hit tab and I'm going to type in C. If this is the STAAR test, I want to see this. I'm not just going to sit there and say that, oh, it's got to be C now, because what if I screwed something up? So let's see. I'm typing in C. So I got a +3 there. And then it's a -6 here. So -6. All right. So this is C now. We hit enter. And yes, so it's below the center. It crosses at 1, 2, 3, 4 on the x-axis, and -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6 on the y. 4, it's below the center. Yeah, that's it. It's that close. That's definitely it right there. Okay, so we can't afford to miss stuff where you're just typing it in and seeing if it matches. Here's another one. We got y equals. Remember, 2 letters makes a y. You're just typing this in and tell me if it matches that. I get kids that are like, but I'm bad at math. Okay, well, there's what are you bad at in terms of math that you can't type that into the calculator and just tell me if it matches? Okay, and so right here's the y-axis. Here's the x-axis. Kind of look. This is what's called the vertex. We just want to look and see if that's where the vertex is. Is it, a happy face? So we're just going to go type these in and see what we get. So go open up. Remember, open up a brand new one. Now, here's the thing. I should be seeing a graph right here. You don't need to hit menu 5-1. If the graph doesn't pop up right there, it's not the answer. So we're going to type in 3x squared plus 26. Hit enter. I don't even see anything. That can't be it. I don't need to go up, even though I could. Actually, I am going to go up because the next one just adds plus 3x in the middle, plus 3x. So that does make it easier. Okay, still nothing. That's weird. All right, so then in the middle, they are putting 18 right there. Hey, that looks like that's it right there. I don't even need to go on. You can see that this right here, I mean, you could look and see that that's at -3 and -1, but I mean, really, it looks like it. That's the big thing. It looks like that. Now, I guess some kids are like, well, yeah, but this is over to the side. You're right. So mine shows me the entire screen as to where the picture of our graph, kind of cuts it off right here and right here. But in terms of where the y-axis is at and the x-axis is at, that looks exactly like my picture. And so, yeah, that's definitely it right there. So the answer would be C. All right, let's take a look at 12. So a lot of kids see this right here that, oh my gosh, this isn't multiple choice. This is hard. I'm skipping it. No. Okay, this has the one thing that we're looking for right here. This has y equals. Okay, y equals. We're going to type this into the calculator. What's our rule? We look for a word or we look for a number. I don't have any other numbers, but I have this word here, y-intercept. Okay, well, that just means it's got to touch the y-axis. We can go find that in the calculator. And so you go type this in the calculator, and then y-intercept just is where is it touching. The calculator will even tell you it's the y-intercept. Okay, so let's go to our calculator real quick and type this in. So we're going to go start a brand new graph. So remember, you don't type in the y equals, and we're going control divide. 1 over 3 x plus 2. So I'm going to hit enter. And so it gives me this right here. And it said we wanted the y-intercept. Well, that's where it's touching the y-axis. So right here is my y-intercept. Well, we can hit, you can just look at it probably and tell me what it is. But we're going to hit menu 5-1, even in case you don't know. Oh, hit too many ones there. Give me a second, escape. So we're going to hit menu 5-1. All right, so this tracer pops up. You can move this tracer. So let's say you think this is the y-intercept, but you're not sure. Go off of it and then come back. It'll tell you, yep, that's the y-intercept right there. Okay, and so you move the tracer. It's called the tracer right here. You move it from by going side to side, up and down doesn't work. So if you move it off and come right back to it, it knows all the important points. You know, it knows down here that this is called 0. Okay, and so like I said, if you're not sure, just go away and come back, and it'll tell you if that's the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is 2. So the y-intercept here would be 2. All right, so we've got another one that says y equals. Once again, this is easy. All right, not a whole lot of, those of us who are bad at adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing, this had nothing to do with any of that. That's why we like this. This is why we get so many kids to pass the STAAR test, okay? And so we take a look at this right here, and we see that this is y equals, so we're going to go plug it in. But this time they gave me a number. So I'm going to hit menu 5-1, and I'm going to type in that number this time. All right, so let's go to our calculator, and we're going to type in minus 2x. Didn't hit the 2. Minus 2x. I need to get rid of that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and just clear everything. All right, so minus 2x plus 3. Hit enter. And then we're going to hit menu 5-1. So anytime that you're, we type this in and, they give us numbers or they give us words and we're trying to go find out what these words are, then we hit menu 5-1. Okay. And so it gave me the number -5. So -5, hit enter. And at -5, it says 13. That's my answer right there. So you typed in -5, it popped up a number. The number it popped up, that's our answer right there. Okay, remember that your answers start in the second box right here. So this is saved for only if you want to put a positive, or if it's negative, you got to put the minus. All right, so continuing on. Okay, so right here, we don't see, we see an equal sign. We don't see y equals though, okay? And so this is just one basic equation. And so, like I said, to go into graphs, we have to see y equals, or we have to see the 2 letters like f of x. But when there's just one equation, this is done under regular calculator. Now, there might be times that you think you have a basic, equation. And so you try to type it in under this and it doesn't work. Okay, then you can guess C. But try and see what happens. That's all, that's the thing, is try and see what happens. If it doesn't work, guess C. All right. All right. So right here, remember, this is called NSolve. All right. And so we're going to type in 3x plus 2 equals 3x plus 2. And then remember, when we get done with NSolve, we have to tell the calculator that we're done by putting a comma and then putting the letter we're looking for, which is x here. We hit enter and it says 0. So at first you're like, all right, sweet, I got 0. And we come here and 0's not here. Like, oh my gosh, what happened? So if you're brand new to doing this, this will be somewhat of a surprise to you, but there's one thing that this calculator really, really struggles. Okay, maybe more than one, but there's one major concept that it definitely struggles with, and that's infinite. It just does not know how to tell us infinite. Okay, if it's no solution, it flat says no solution. Obviously, if it's a number, it tells you the number. Well, with infinite, it says equals 0. And it's weird because if there was an equal 0 here, you would probably pick the 0, and that's fine. If it gets us, it gets us. But If it says equal 0 and there's no equal 0 here, and you're like, wait a second, oh, that's right. Whenever it's equal to 0, that it could be infinite. And so hopefully they don't put 0 and infinite on the same, give you both of those options. If they do, they're probably going to trick us, and that's all right. You miss that one question, it's not going to kill you. But if you ever don't see a 0, then remember it struggles with infinite, and you'll see that with some other stuff too. And so we put D for infinite. All right, so right here, want you to see that this had one equation. Now, this is really the first time that we've kind of seen two equations like this, okay? None of these have y equals, so the only thing that we could possibly do with this is if menu 3(1) was for one equation, let's go see. I'm going to clear this real quick. If menu 3(2), so menu 3, oh, hit the wrong thing, my bad. Let me delete all that. That looked crazy, didn't it? So menu 3(2) is for two equations, okay? So if you got two equations, okay, then we can do menu 3(2). Even if y is by itself, if there's two equations most of the time, then we're going to type it in right here. So it pops up this weird thing. And as long as our letters are X and Y, which they are, you just simply hit enter. And then it's going to do everything else for you, except you have to plug in the two equations right there. And so we're going to type in minus 3x minus 5y equals 37. Now, as I'm doing this, you might be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, how am I going to remember all of this? Well, first off, that is why we do it all year long. But if you practice this every day for the next, so from today, we've got 12 days until we take the STAAR test, but you practice this stuff every day for the next 11 days, you're going to be surprised at what you'll remember. Now, if you practice it today and then you practice it again 5 days from now, and you practice again 5 days from now, it's probably not enough time. All right, so all we do is type this in. It remembered to put the comma like we did here. It put X and Y like we put the X. So it did everything else for us. You just have to type in your two equations and boom, it gives you the answer. -4, -5. So -4, -5 would be C. So in the end, what we want to stress is that if you're bad at math, you're not doing any math. Okay, you're letting the calculator do everything. Okay, and so now it's a matter of you learning this calculator. Okay, and that's where you've got to practice. And if you practice for the next 11 days, I really think that you'll get good at this, because some of this stuff you tend to see again and again and again, like y equals, we tend to see that stuff again and again and again. And then we just have to learn, like, when do I hit menu 5(1)? When am I just looking to match stuff? So right here, we see another y equals. All right, so first off, you're going, all right, this right here is something I can put in the calculator. But then when you look at your answers, they all have y equals. So this is kind of special here. So when you've got y equals in the problem and then y equals in all your answers, then we're doing a matching thing. And the way that we figure out which one matches is we're going to type this in and find out what color pops up. Then we're going to go type these in, and whichever one makes it change colors, that's our answer, because it means it matches. And so let's go see what we mean here. So we're going to start by typing in the y equals in the problem. Okay, so we're going to go and open up like I said, a brand new graph. So we're going to type in the actual question, which is -3 parentheses x plus 4 squared plus 4. All right, so we're going to hit enter. Okay, so it's blue. Now at this point, I would tell kids, depending on how good you are at this, write down blue right here. So as long as I see this blue graph, I have not found my answer. But if something goes right on top of this blue graph and it changes colors, then I found the match, and that's my answer. So we're going to start typing these in. and seeing which one matches. So we're going to hit tab, but we are not going to go up. I need this to stay here so I can see when it matches. And so we I'm going to type in minus 3x squared and then minus 60 and hit enter. So first off, I still see blue. Now some kids will be like, but I don't see anything. It doesn't matter. We don't, as long as you still see blue, nothing has matched that graph. And so we don't need to worry about it. Let's go type in the next one. So it just so happens that I can edit the one I just typed in and put in a minus 24. So a lot of times these answers are close to each other. It's easier just to go edit it. All right, so I'm going to hit enter here, and I still don't see anything. All right, so that's not it. So I'm going to hit tab. So let's see. The next one says minus 44. Okay, so we hit, oh, look at that. So you see what I'm talking about there. That blue graph went away, and I've got a red graph now. That meant it went right on top of it. Sometimes your graphs will, maybe be a little bit hard to see, and you can roll your mouse over it, and it'll really make it stand out. And you can see, yeah, that definitely changed colors right there. And so my answer, let me go ahead and clear this out here. My answer is going to be C here, because C was the one that made that change from blue to red. So these two matched. And if they match, then that's my answer. Obviously, that's going to take a little bit of time to practice there, okay, to get used to that. All right, now I put these two next to each other because they're the exact same, but they don't look the exact same, okay? So this had a y equals, and these all had y equals. Well, we have a little thing that says if this looks like an equation, but it doesn't have an equal sign, technically there's a y equals right there. These look like equations too. There's technically y equals right there. So we can go type these into our graphs just like we did these. And because I have an equation here, and these are all equations just like these, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to type this in, find out what color it is. I'm going to type these in and see which of these makes this change color. Okay. So I'm going to go open up a brand new graph because it's a new problem. And then we are going to type in. Now on this, you do have to change everything to x. So it says v. I have to make this x squared plus 5x plus 6. Oh, forgot to hit the plus 6. So hit enter. Okay, so right there is my first graph. We're going to put, so we're going to put black right here. All right, so now these look like equations too, even though, there's no equal sign. And so we're going to type these in and see which one goes on top of this. And so we're going to go type in tab, parentheses, x minus 3, close parentheses. You have to put the parentheses. I get kids like, do I have to put the parentheses? If you want it to work, you do, okay? So it has to have these parentheses right here. All right, so we're going to hit enter. Now, that looks cool. They look like, they're identical to each other, but it did not go on top of this, okay? It's I still see the black. Remember, for it to be our answer, it has to go on top of it to where I don't see that black anymore. So even though it looks cool, this does not match. So we're going to hit tab, and I'm going to go up. I'm going to edit this real quick. And so I'm going to switch this to B. This turns to a positive 3. So I'm going to hit plus and hit enter. Okay, well, that's definitely not it. So I'm going to hit tab and go up. C changes both of these. I'm going to actually type in D real quick because D just changes. It'll be easier to type in D right here. So I'm going to skip to D. So that's D right there. If I did C, I'd have to switch both of them. So I'm going to hit enter here and look at that. That went right on top of it. So that's our answer right there. So I typed in D. Now you do have to be careful once you find this answer that you circle the right thing. Okay. So x plus 3 and x plus 2. Wrong thing. And so that's D right there. So I have seen kids that type in, like they type in the wrong answer. and it matches, and they thought they typed in C, but they actually typed in D, something like that. And so you got to be careful that you know exactly what you typed in and make sure you pick that answer. Okay. All right. So 17, this is going to go a little bit quicker. Now, if you're not in my room and you don't know these words, in my room, I've got a poster. And so, we're just going to have to start learning these. Vertex is the very top or the very bottom of a U-graph. So in this case, it's at the very top. Okay. Now, the trick to this is they want the X and the Y. So they want to know the coordinates of this vertex right here, and they want the X and the Y. The trick to this is we're only going to look at the X. If we need to, we'll look at the Y later. But when they ask you to find X and Y, you just find the X first. All we care about is that X coordinate. So this right here tells you this is the X axis. So what's the X coordinate? Is 3. You look down here, the only one that has a 3, the X comes first. The only one that has a 3 up front is going to be D, and that's our answer. If you get the X and the Y at the same time, that 1 is going to trick you right there, and you're going to accidentally pick A. So that's why we always say when they want the X and the Y, you just find the X, go look. Everything technically eliminated because that was the only one that had 3. Now, if 2 of these had a positive 3, then we would go look at the Y. All right, number 18, minimum. Now, minimum here is, stinking poster's not working here. Here we go. Minimum means how low does this go? Okay. Now it's still the same point as the vertex, but vertex was the X and the Y. Minimum just wants to know how low does my graph go? When you measure how low something is, you always go to the side. Like if you measure how tall you are, you measure to the side. How low did it go? You're measuring to the side. It's always to the Y. So minimum or maximum, a maximum would be how tall it went. You always go to the Y or go to the side. So this is 2. Okay. All right, axis of symmetry. So axis of symmetry, the X and the axis of symmetry tells me that it has to be an X equals equation. So it can't be B and it can't be D. So you see these equations, that X is telling me that, it's got to be X equals. Symmetry is when you split something in half and the two sides look like each other. So we're going to draw a line that splits this in half. You see it crosses the X axis at 2, and that's our answer, that X equals 2. So also knowing that it crosses the X axis should remind you that it's got to be X equals. It can never be Y equals. All right, so x-intercepts. X-intercepts are where it touches the X axis. This always gets kids. So right here is my X axis, right here. Where's that red line touching it? And kids are like, guys, keep it simple. It doesn't touch it. So there are no x-intercepts. So if it doesn't touch the x-axis, then there are none. So don't overthink this here. All right. So if you don't know those words, then we want to get to a point where we do know them. Okay. Because those are very, very easy words. And notice they didn't take long to do, but you do got to know what the words mean. All right, so anytime we see this right here, this is a square root symbol, then we're going to go plug this into a regular calculator. Notice that there's no letters. So we're going to go to regular calculator because there's no letters. And we're just going to hit Control X squared. It gives me this, this square root symbol right here. And we're going to type in our number. So our number was, flip my paper over. I haven't looked at it in a second. All right, 80. Hit enter, and we get 8.9. Now we're going to type in the answers. So 4, remember that square root symbol is Control X squared. 4 square roots of 7. Okay, so that doesn't match. And all we're trying to do is match this decimal here. I'm going to type in B, 4 square roots of 5. Those two match right there. Then this is my answer, 4 square roots of 5. Super easy question right there. Okay, super. Okay, if you are kind of new to the calculator, this one's going to be not as easy as what we hope it is maybe on if you practice this for 12 days. Okay. So we see something here, looks like an equation, no equal sign. So remember, when there's no equal sign, it's still kind of y equals. So we can go type this in under graphs. These look like equations. So these technically have y equals 2. So we're going to go and start a brand new graph, and we're typing in. Remember, these got to switch to x. So x squared minus 1, hit enter. All right. And then, you know, what I taught you to do was when this looked like an equation and these look like equations, you type it in and see which one makes it change color, which one matches. However, when we type this in, we're going to see that there's a problem here. So we're going to hit tab. Remember, we don't get rid of this because I want to see if something goes on top of it. And we type in x plus 2. All right, so here's our problem. This is a U graph. When I type that in, I got a straight line. There's no way that a straight line can ever go on top of a U graph. This will never match. So is there anything I can do? Yes. So this green line right here touches the x-axis twice. If this new orange line ever touches the x-axis in the same spot as either one of these, and it's only got to touch one, then that's my answer. You can see that this does not touch the x-axis at the same spot that these green lines do. Now, a lot of kids will go, oh, look, it crosses, therefore that's the answer. No, just crossing it's not the answer. It has to cross it at the x-axis. Okay, so we're going to hit tab, and we're going to type in B. So B would be 1. So we hit enter, and look at that. The green line and the orange line here both cross the x-axis in the same spot. This is our answer. Now, even though we do consider this to be easy, this is the one that most kids miss. Guys, if you miss this, especially if you're just really starting to try to learn the calculator, don't stress over this one. Missing one of these is not going to make you fail the STAAR. Okay. We can't miss a whole bunch of these, but that one right there, hopefully you get better at it because we're going to practice it a lot. But if not, that's all right. All right. So right here, this is asking for the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is where it touches the y-axis, and this red line touches the y-axis right there. I'm just looking for where this red line touches that y-axis. It touches it at 2. Now, here's the trick, though. I got 2 of these that say 2. And so if I want the y-intercept, that 2 has to be the y-coordinate. And remember, the y-coordinate comes second. So the y-coordinate is going to be right there. So the answer is C. So they're going to try to trick you there. Okay. So if it's the y-intercept, it's the y-coordinate. Now, if it's the x-intercept, then it would have to be the x-coordinate. Okay. But the y-intercept's the y-coordinate. So that 2 has to be the y. All right. So we take a look at this one, and I see y equals. Oh, yes, we love y equals. The only bad part is we got to know how to type that x in right there because that x is an exponent there. But all we're doing is typing these in and matching this. So let's go see if we can do that. I'm going to go ahead and clear this out real quick. All right, so brand new graph. We're going to type in, we're going to open up a brand new graph right here. So we're going to go and type in 2 parentheses 2, close parentheses. Okay, so we need to put an x right here, and it needs to be an exponent. So to get that, you hit this house top. Okay, that lets you to put in an exponent, any exponent you want. So we put in x. But here's the problem. If I hit -2, do you see how that -2 is little bitty with that x? This also is an exponent, and I don't want it to be. So you got to make sure you either hit down or to the side. I hit to the side. And then that cursor gets bigger. And now when I hit -2, you can see it matches the rest of those. It's those height. Okay. So we got to make sure that it does that properly. And you can tell right off the bat, there's no way that we're just matching the picture. This is going down, that's going up. So that's definitely not it. So we're going to hit tab and go up. It looks like B keeps this the same, except they just moved this to a +2. So we hit enter. No, that's definitely not it. It's still going up, and it should be going down. So we're going to hit tab and go up. It looks like that C, they get rid of this 2 right here and put just a negative symbol. Now there's parentheses, so I'm going to go ahead and add these parentheses back right here so that it looks like so that looks like the problem right there. That looks like C. So we hit enter. Ooh, So that's going down. It's touching the y-axis at 1, the x-axis at 1. Look at that. That matches right there. So C is going to be my answer. So, if it's that close, you don't need to stress over checking the rest of them. That's your answer. All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we got more y equals. Okay, so we see that y equals. We know we're typing this in the calculator. They're giving me points, so we're going to hit menu 5-1. We're typing in the x and see if they got the y. There was something I forgot to do. I got to remember to teach you guys to do this. Do y'all see how big this is right here? Our calculator isn't designed to give us that many points. And so we have to make sure. So I'm going to go open up a brand new graph real quick. We need to go to menu and change the settings. See how this says float 3? We need to change this to just float. I don't want it to just stop at 3. I want it to give me a whole bunch of numbers. And so now I'm going to hit OK. And now when I check this, it'll give me a whole bunch of numbers and won't just stop after 3. We're going to start trying to get y'all to do that at the beginning, but I'm ADD and I forgot. So hopefully the more we do this, I'll keep remembering them. All right, so we're going to type in negative, so minus. And notice, for those of you who may be new to the calculator, I say negative, I only hit the minus sign, even for negatives. I never, ever, ever hit that negative sign there. That's the button of the devil, and he'll lie to you. Sometimes that button screws up. All right, so we got negative parentheses 3, close parentheses, and then I got that x as an exponent again, so we hit this house top, hit X and enter. All right, we're going to hit menu 5-1, and then we're typing in -4. And you can see it gives me that, all those numbers before it would not have done that. So it gives me a -0.0123. That's exactly what I'm looking for there. But remember, you got to type it in twice, or you got to check 2 things. So I'm going to check -2. We hit enter. And I get 0.11111. Hey, look at that. That matched right there. That's my answer. I love it when the answer's A. All right. So we see y equals, and your first thought is, let's go plug this in the calculator. But we see a key word here. They want to know slope. Remember, slope is that one, we really need to know this right here. It's super easy. Slope is always the number in front of x. If y is by itself, which it is, so the number in front of x would be 2. Super easy question right there. So we definitely want to make sure we know that one. All right, and then our last 2 questions here. Once again, this looks like an equation, but it does not have an equal sign. These look like equations, don't have equal sign. We're going to type these into the calculator and just see which one makes it change colors. However, there's going to be a small issue, and that's why we want to cover this question. So we're going to go to type this in. Remember, you have to use x here. So 3x parentheses. So this happened a few years ago on the STAAR test. And, we don't know if it'll happen again or not, but we're going to prepare you guys in case it does. And all these kids started flipping out. They're saying, my calculator's not working. So we want you guys to see this right here. So we're going to hit enter, and it gives us an error. So all the kids are like, the calculator's not working. Now remember, on the STAAR test, teachers can't come back and tell you what to do. Now the funny part is I had never seen this, so I didn't know why it wasn't working. It took a whole year before I figured out why it wasn't working. And so what it is for some reason, we don't know why, you cannot put an X in front of a parentheses directly. Okay, we don't know why. You can put it after the parentheses, but not in front of. To fix this, all you got to do is put a time symbol, and then boom, it works. Now, I know this looks like a weird graph, but all we care about here is that this is red, because this is an equation and all these look like equations. So we're just typing these in to see which one matches that. All right, so we're going to hit tab, and we're going to keep this. We don't want to change it because that's my red one right there. We got to see which one goes on top of it. We're going to type in a -15x to the 3rd power. Make sure, once again, you get out of that when you hit that exponent. Minus 12x. Now, the good thing about this squared button is it automatically brings you out, so you don't have to get out of it. And then plus 2x. All right, so let's see if this is it right here. Watch that red line. Oh, this is really close right here. But look at that. I'm going to move this real quick. Look at that. It just barely misses that right there. Okay. So, yeah, it was really close, but that's not it. Okay. I still see red. As long as you see red, that's not your answer. It has to match it perfectly. All right. So, I'm going to get rid of this right here. And this is what B is. B is this right here. So, we hit enter. Ah, now look at that one. That went right on top of it right there. So if it goes right on top of it and completely matches it, that's my answer right there. All right. And then this one, okay, so I'm not going to lie. This one is one of the newer things that we've done. So there's a lot of kids that don't know how to do this. I got kids like, oh, look, y equals. And so they go type this in, which is fine. This will always give you the same graph. It'll always go through the vertex, will always go through the center. This is what we really need you to type in. Okay. And so, but this looks weird. It's, this is my y equals still, but this has an extra F in it. And so in order to type this in, I cannot have that F because that gives me two separate letters. You can't have that. So a lot of kids just get rid of it. Okay. Which is what we're going to do. But the problem is you can't just get rid of it and it be the same thing. And so when we get rid of this, getting rid of this F said that it was a squared function. We have to add squared at the end of the parentheses. Now you can type that in. So if you remember this, that's great. If you end up forgetting it, once again, this is, even though I do consider this to kind of be an easy one, forgetting this one won't kill you. Okay, so we're going to go type this into the calculator now. We got rid of the F, we added that squared, and all we're trying to do is tell me which one of these match. So we'll go open up a brand new one, and we have -2 parentheses, and then x minus 3 squared. And so once again, don't forget to put that squared or this is not going to work. Hit enter. So I'm looking for something that it's going downward. It's, here's the y-axis. It's on the right-hand side of the y-axis. So let's see if we can find something like that. So first off, right off the bat, this is going up. This is going up. That's not right. These two are both going down. They both look similar to each other, but right here's the y-axis. Okay. So right here's the y-axis. Mine was on the right of the y-axis. This is on the left of the y-axis. So the answer right here is going to be B. This is the one that matches. So notice you do have to pay attention to that y-axis or maybe even the x-axis to see which one matches. Guys, you could just go through and copy down answers and turn this in. The whole point to this, though, is being able to pass the STAAR test. So I hope you're not just copying these answers down. I hope you're trying to, practice putting stuff into the calculator. You're not going to be perfect at this if you haven't done a lot of these. If you've done a lot of these, then hopefully you're really good at these. It'll make your life so much easier on the STAAR test. But if not, we got 11 more days where we're really going to practice this. And guys, I have gotten kids ready for the STAAR test in 11 days. So I don't care if you haven't done anything. If you're willing to get all these easy ones and guess C on everything else, I can get you past the STAAR test. So but you got to do it every day for the next 11 days. So keep showing up and doing these for the next 11 days. If these get too easy and you want to try some of the tougher ones, that's fine. But you've got to be awesome at all these before you move on to the advanced. All right, guys, y'all have a great day.